want to be as transparent as possible. I remember when I was in high school, uh, you know, I used to go to church. My mom's made us go to church or whatever. And we went to Sunday school, and it seemed like every year it was the same shit. Like, I'm just being real with you. Like, I just got tired of going to churches. It's just the same thing every year. It's just Easter and Jesus died. Let's break a cracker to represent the body and drink damn grape juice to represent the blood. And it's just the same thing year after year after year. And, I didn't know anything. I wasn't conscious. I guess, I was so-called asleep. And I didn't know anything. I was just in search of knowledge, and it wasn't until I got out of high school and I, went to college, I started to find out certain things, right? And in my journeys of finding out certain things, I ran into an organization called the Nubian Nation, right? Led by the cult leader, Dwight York, also known as Dr. Malachi York, right? And in that organization, I was in that organization for damn near 15 years, a little over 15 years. And in that organization, Dwight York was the savior. He authored like majority of the books that we read. We had this big, thick book, like I guess our version of the Bible called the Holy Tablets. So in other words, I didn't know anything outside of the cult that I was in called the Nubian Nation. And I didn't want to know anything or learn anything outside of the cult leaders, Dwight York, also known as Dr. Malachi York's books, ideology, and doctrine. It wasn't until I left the organization I started to really get into more authors, more teachers, scholars, real scholars, and the conscious community. That's when I started learning about the real truth. And the person, I'm not going to even lie. I mean, I've talked about him several times. I've let everybody know how I'm pretty much like, I can't say ashamed and embarrassed, but let down, by this person. But the person that introduced me to Ivan Varsardamas and ISIS Papers and, Phil Valentine, Bobby Hemmett, and the list goes on was Sinetta. I was introduced to all of that information when I started looking at Sinetta TV or Black News 102 in 2009. Prior to that, I saw Sinetta on 125th on the Bullhorn and speaking his shit or whatever. But at that point in time, I was Nubian and I was focused on two things. That was spreading the doctrine of Nuwapu, or in other words, Dwight York's doctrine. And then the second thing, and that's the reason why I was up there on 125th, was to get some bootleg movies so I could go back down south and sell it. And whatever money that I made, I could pay my bills and pay my turn-in. Turn-in was the money that we had to give to the organization, or rather the money that we had to give to Dr. York in order for him to do the things that he was doing, the malicious shit that he was doing. So that was the only thing that was on my mind, right? I'm making sense of this. Hang on. Bear with me. So in 2009, I started looking at Sinetta and I started learning all of this stuff. And I bought the book called They Came Before Columbus and the ISIS Papers and Urugu. And I was reading all types of books. And then Sinetta came out with the debates. And I started finding out about your Polites, your baby Iman, and your man Muhammad, I forgot his name. All types of people. Shaka Atmos, right? And at that point in time, that was the first time that I ever heard of a conscious community. And the conscious community was just an umbrella. And under that umbrella was organizations such as the More Science Temple, the 5%, or the Nation of Gods and Goddesses. The Nation of Islam, the Hebrew Israelites, And even though the Nubians never wanted to be under that umbrella, but they were included. The nation of the United Nubian Nation. And when I started finding out about when I found out the term conscious community, I started researching every organization and their whole ideologies, and I took a little from everybody. I learned a little from everybody. And it was a glorious time at that point in time because things didn't get out of hand until later on. So the same person, Sinetta, that introduced me to the conscious community and to these street scholars, I ain't gonna say street scholars, but these real scholars such as your Phil Valentine and the likes, was the same person that kind of destroyed the conscious community, kind of ghettofied it, or rather monetized it. And there's some things that I realize in my life that you just don't monetize, and that's culture. Look what has happened to hip hop. Hip hop is a $1 billion industry. It is an industry by itself. And look what's happening. Look what has happened to it. The race that has created hip hop. So y'all can say the Puerto Ricans were there in the Bronx or whatever. Stop it with that bullshit ass hip hop started out in the Bronx. That's bullshit. If you want to say that the name hip hop started out in the Bronx, yes, you can say that. But motherfuckers were rapping in the early 1900s. That is an African culture, hip hop that is. Period. But look at what's happened to hip hop. They've taken our culture and monetized it. The people that created hip hop no longer make like real money off of it. It's the same thing with the conscious community. Same thing. And I just think, in my personal opinion, Sinetta ruined some shit that was good. That could have been decent. Because prior to the whole conscious community, prior to Sinetta coming out with YouTube videos and all the rest of that shit, it seems as though that the conscious community, or rather the organizations that were up under the conscious community, weren't as ghettofied as they are now. Now it's nothing but slander, attacks, and all the rest of this shit. But the reality of it is I will say this, the positive side is now you're starting to see who really is for and about black people. If you want to say something positive out of the situation. At the end of the day, if there's anything positive out of the situation, you realize now that all of the big words and all the big talk and all of this doctrine and ideology that these different organizations were coming out with under the title conscious community really ain't so smart as it is. And the only thing that they were doing was talking that jive. That jive ass shit on a soapbox. And in reality, the conscious community is no different from the black church. They're here to sell you false hopes and dreams and aspirations. Because at the end of the day, I mean, let's be real. If my son wanted a job, could he go and fill out an application at the conscious community in order to get a job? Like, is the conscious community like real? Does it have an address? Does it file its taxes? Is it LLC? Does the conscious community have an infrastructure? Does it employ people? Can it be sued? Is the conscious community a real entity, or is it a stick man? I'm just trying to understand. Period. And this is the reason why I named this video, The Conscious Community Ain't So Smart After All. It's just not. There's nothing smart or amazing about the conscious community. You ever seen The Oz with Diana Ross, Michael Jackson? You ever seen that? You remember when they went behind the curtain? That's the term, the men behind the curtain. You remember when they went behind the curtain and that big voice that they heard was just Richard Pryor. That's what the conscious community is. That's how I felt about the conscious community in the beginning. I thought that the conscious community was the Wizard of Oz. It had all this bark, 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 bark. But then once I unveiled, pushed the curtains back, and saw it wasn't nothing but a bunch of motherfuckers that don't know too much, that just want to use big words, and they want to use and abuse and take advantage of people and take their money. Once I pulled those curtains back and I saw it was nothing but Polite Sinetta, Dr. Umar Johnson, Young Pharaoh, I was like, damn. I'm not trying to raise no hell. Seriously, I'm not. But it's crazy how the Hebrew Israelites will talk about Polite touching the little 13-year-old girl. And I've seen a video on Sinetta TV and Block News 102, one of the channels, where one of the Hebrew Israelites was in New York talking about after a girl has a menstrual cycle, then they can be sexually involved with her no matter the age. It's like the conscious community is a walking contradiction. And this is the reason why I continue to make videos about, the conscious community and how people should give it up, leave it alone, and just continue about their daily lives. I've heard one person say, now that the conscious community has been shut down and, all the lies have been put out and the truth is there, what do we have left? Well, damn, you sound no different from a preacher. When a preacher says now you're walking away from Christianity, what do you have left? And I'm telling you, you have you. That plain and simple. You see, I used this example in another video that I did recently. I'm gonna use it again. Your parents taught you how to ride a bike. And in the very beginning, you needed training wheels. And then you got so good at it to the point where they took the training wheels off and you learned how to ride the bike by yourself. So just think about the conscious community being that bicycle with the training wheels. Now that you know that the journey's within, now that you know that the only person that can solve your problems, that can motivate you, inspire you to be the greatest and to live to your fullest potential is you no longer need those training wheels. Matter of fact, to be real with you, you never needed them. That the conscious community actually tricked and fooled you and made you believe that you had to purchase those training wheels and put them on your bike, while all along you never needed them in the first place. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. That the only person that's smart in this particular situation is the one that walks away from the conscious community, just like I walked away from the Nubian nation. And just like I walked away from the conscious community not too long ago. So I say about a couple years back. Period. The only reason why I may look at Sinetta TV or Black News 102 every now and then is for research purposes only. That's it. That's it. Other than that, I don't follow those people. You know who I follow? It's this guy called Langston 2092. Seems like a great guy. He seems to be the one that can get me out of my problems, my situation. I don't know about anybody, I don't know anyone else's. But I know at least with him, he seems like I can trust him. I don't know about anybody else trusting him, but I know with me, I can trust him. And the only Trinity that I believe in is me, myself, and I. That's it. That's it. You can call me a heathen. You can call me a black devil. You can call me a traitor. You can call me a snitch. You can call me all of the negative names that you can phantom and think of. That's cool. But I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to be all those names. Because the only person I'm going to rely on for the rest of my life is me. That's it. I am done. I will no longer participate in any organization. I will no longer give anyone any type of damn money. I've wasted enough of my money by helping the Blue Lodge out. A self-created organization called the United Nubian Nation of Masons or some shit. I've already helped them out. Gave them hundreds of my dollars. Didn't even get a thank you card. I already supported the legal team for Dr. Malachi Z. York. Gave him hundreds of dollars. Didn't even get a thank you card. I already sent money to his mother at the time that was alive, called Fatima. Gave her hundreds of dollars. Didn't even get a thank you card. And at that time, Dr. Sebi said he was a Nuamian. And I was just trying to understand, why do I have to send her money for her to get her prescription filled? Like, why can't Dwight York get two people to heal his mother at the time when she was alive? There's no disrespect on the dead, but it's just the truth. It's a question. The first person was why he couldn't get Dr. Sebi to just give his mom herbs to heal her at the time that she was alive. The first person. The second person, or the second question, why couldn't he just get Krill? You know, Krill, the one that healed Dwight York from his angioedema while he was in jail, while Dwight York was in jail. Why couldn't he just get the great Krill to take a spaceship to go to see his mother, and Krill heal his mother? And this is what I'm saying. It's all bullshit. That at the end of the day, the conscious community ain't smart after all. That plain and simple. And I will tell you, in 2021 and on, you'll be a fool to follow them. You'll be a fool to give your money to them. You'll be a fool to pay them any type of attention. That plain and simple. I'm done. My name is Langston 2092. I want you to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely share this video.